What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. We're going to recap and review the Dolphins' victory over the Jets yesterday. We're going to look at the PFF stats. We're going to look at some next gen stats. We're obviously going to look at the snap counts. And then, obviously, there's some news that happened today in terms of we got a Will Fuller update, and it's not surprising if you've been following this channel for any stretch of time. We also got Waddle and Philip Lindsay back, and Duke Johnson has earned a contract with the main roster, as has another certain young Dolphin player. So we will get into all of that. But as usual, um, I want to, get into my weekly state of the Dolphins address because, for some reason, the Watson talk is infusing back into the community. You're seeing, I mean, what else can you say? Nothing but all the people on Twitter and different platforms, all the people that were silent during the 5-game winning streak are now coming out and trying to be the most vocal Tua haters after, arguably his worst performance as a professional. I mean, I've said that. I mean, I stick with that. It wasn't a good performance by any stretch of the imagination. Now, he did make up for it. Hey, he threw a pick six, came right back down, threw the game-winning touchdown. That counts as a game-winning drive. At the end of the day, I mean, he made a mistake, but he gave us right back that lead. He didn't waver in any way, shape, or form. So you got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, the way this kid is resilient, his ability to rebound and respond. I mean, the guy rebounds and responds like a veteran. Let's just call it what it was. I mean, Tannehill, Fitzpatrick, even Josh Rosen, they throw that interception, that pick six, and we're probably losing the game on like a last minute field goal. Let's just call a spade a spade. Right? The man came back, he made up for his mistake, he locked it in, and I see everyone is just it's back to like, the kid has one slip off, let's jump all over him. And the Deshaun Watson, like, listen, I don't want to talk about the Deshaun Watson stuff because first of all, he's not a Dolphin right now. Second of all, we're going to talk enough about it in the offseason. Tua could go off, win a playoff game, and we'd still be talking about it in the offseason, okay? That's just a fact. Because you got certain people out there with certain agendas. I don't want to talk about it. We're already going to get enough Deshaun Watson talk come February. And I'm looking at, and this is, I got to say this, I got people on my on my DMs telling me I'm not defending Tua enough yesterday on the post-game show. But then I got people on the timeline telling me I'm making excuses for Tua. And, dude, everyone knows I love Tua as a prospect coming out. Everyone knows I wanted us to draft Tua. Everyone knows Tua is one of my favorite players in the NFL. I won't call him my favorite player in the NFL right now, but he's because I've always been I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers guy. Everyone knows that. I got other players I really love in the NFL. I love Jonathan Taylor coming out. I'm still following him. I love Jonathan Taylor. There's other, everyone knows I love Nick Chubb. Some underrated guys that I love. Everyone knows I love Tyler Lockett. So there's guys I love, you know what I mean? So as players. So, Tua is one of my favorite players. And I'm more invested than a lot of these people who are just on Twitter or YouTube comments who don't have a brand, who don't have a platform. I'm way more tied to this kid than you guys are, but y'all got to realize, first of all, my evaluation, if he gets traded to another team or goes somewhere else, Reason is not wrong. He's already shown he can be a competent starting quarterback in the NFL. The only remaining question left to be answered is, if you put the correct pieces around him, is he going to become the franchise guy we all project him that he will if you do such things? That's the only one which I think he will. So I've already got my evaluation right. He's already a starter in the NFL. But My evaluation continues if he goes to the Saints, the Washington football team, wherever he goes, my evaluation continues. So I'm a Dolphins fan first. All right. So it is what it is, man. If he goes, he goes. But I say all that to say this. Just there are people out there who make excuses for everything. But this is all I said yesterday. And this was not me. See, people got to, and I've said this since I started this channel in 2020. Dolphin fans can't spell, some of them don't understand the word context, let alone can they probably even spell it. There's a difference between context and excuses. Okay, totally different. Context explains the situation and why things happen the way they did. An excuse is just a off the cuff, made up reason why something went down. You're not placing blame properly. All right. And the thing that came into question to me was, and I said it live on the stream yesterday, when Duke Johnson has that 21-yard run negated by a hold by Hunter Long, the next play was the interception. It was, and I've said on the stream, I said on Twitter, it was a bad read. It's a bad throw. He got his eye watched, and he got picked. But that still shouldn't have happened. And I'm not absolving Tua of any blame here. That hold should not have happened. Hunter Long, the limited amount of reps this guy gets, you can't be making boneheaded plays like that and mistakes like that. You negated a 21-yard run. So what I mean, and the fact that when I said in that tweet to EM, to Martin, to Football Minds, I didn't have to explain myself. But I had to explain myself apparently because some people, they don't know the nuances and the ins and outs, and they don't really understand the game. See, I tell you all the time, it's one thing to watch the game. It's another thing to watch and understand what you're watching. Anyone can turn on a TV and watch something. To fully understand what you're watching, that's a totally different thing. So, if that 21-yard run happens, if you look at the flow of the game, we're running the ball on first down. We are now in a first down position at midfield. We are running the ball. We are running the ball. That's it. That's all there is to it. On first down, we are going to run the ball. The reason why we were put in a position to throw is because this offense is not built to make up boneheaded penalties that bring us into 20-yard distances. I believe it was like 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10, attack on the 10-yard hold. We were now at 1st or 2nd and 20. That's why we threw. Because now we had to make up some of the yardage we lost. Now, if you go back and watch the play, Hunter Long did not run a very good route. Does not absolve Tua from the fact he should not have made that throw. It was just a bad play all over. All right? He's got his eyes watched, got picked, gone. Boom. So, and then just because on the flip side, people saying I'm not defending Tua enough. Just because it's okay to admit when he has a bad game. It's going to happen. Go look at Aaron Rodgers' first game of the season. People were saying he was washed up after it. People were saying it was over. Blah, 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 blah. Just people talking mad smack about Aaron Rodgers because he had one of the worst games of his career to start the season this year. Even Hall of Fame bound quarterback. Look at Tom Brady whenever he faces the Saints. People think yesterday was an anomaly. No, yesterday was not an anomaly. Go look at him against the Saints since he's been a Buck. For some reason, they have his number. And they're going to have bad games. Or certain teams are going to figure you out. And they're just going to have good records against you. It happens. I.e., Tom Brady was the GOAT in New England, but we always had a good record at him, especially at home. It happens. Even when we were a crap team, we had a decent record against the Tom Brady Patriots. It just happens. So, I'm just all this over. It just goes back to all the people that were overreacting after the first quarter and the first half when we were down. You got to let things play out, man. Like, it's one game. Like I said yesterday, if it starts becoming a pattern and I start seeing the two I saw yesterday for 2, 3, 4 games in a row, we got an issue. Then I have an issue. And people also got to realize a point that we failed to make while we were live, and I made it when we were not live. That was the second time we have seen the Jets in the last 5 weeks. And Robert Saleh is a damn good defensive coach. It's like, why are the Saints so good against the Brady? Go back to that again. Because they have to listen, when you build teams, you build them to beat the teams in your division because you want to win the division, and B, you 6 of the games on your schedule are against teams in your own division. So you build to beat the teams in your division, and then secondary comes building the personnel to beat big teams in other divisions. Because your main worry is your own division for the course of the year. That's just how it works. And you know your rivals better than you know a random team in the NFC. You know what I mean? So, I'm telling you right now, Tua's going to have a better game against the Saints. I'm telling you right now, we're going to put up more than 0 points. We're not going to get shut out. Now, does that mean Tua is better than Tom Brady? No, but you're going to hear it. Just like if he has a bad game and a bad quarterback, like if Mike Glennon would have had a better game than him in the Giants game, we would have heard, oh, Mike Glennon's better than Tua, when we all know it's nonsense. It's like the one thing I've learned since I started this all and I got involved in all this, fans are so fickle. So fickle. And all I've been trying to tell you guys to do is be objective. It's okay to hate a player, but be objective when you evaluate the player. It's okay to love a player, but be objective when you evaluate that player. That's all I'm saying. And I've tried to be as objective as possible. I've never once called Tua a franchise quarterback. I've said he's shown me he's worth investing in the pieces around him because he could become your franchise quarterback. That is different than saying with 110% certainty, he is my franchise quarter. He has proven he's a franchise quarterback in this league. That is totally different. You know what I mean? That's totally different. So, and at the same time, objectiveness can lead you to praising a kid, but objectiveness can also lead you to trashing a player. I get that too. But it's easy to see when you're being objective or you're being subjective, especially when there's previous receipts, and Twitter is really good for that. YouTube is good for that, but it's harder because you got to go sift through everything. But Twitter ain't that hard. The receipts are much easier to draw up on Twitter. So, just people need to relax. Because, I see people on one side of the spectrum. It's like Twitter put out a Tua stan. They put out a Tua stan thermometer, and obviously got red are the haters. Then it fades into yellow. Then it goes to green, which are the middle people, and the yellow is they're kind of a hater, but they're kind of in the middle. And then it goes from yellow all the way to a different color or whatever. And then, anyways, point of the matter is I landed on that spectrum. They put my picture on that, and I was in between. I was in the yellow leading into the Tua stan, but I wasn't quite on the Tua stan spectrum. So I guess people are realizing I'm not the big Tua stan that everyone thought he was. I love the kid. I want this kid to succeed a ton, more than most players in the NFL, just because. But that's also because I want to see the backpedaling and I want to see how the goalposts are going to move then. That's kind of for like personal gain, you know what I mean? But I want him also to succeed mainly for our team's gain. So I don't have to pay someone $40 million right now. So I do not have to give up 4 draft picks right now. Because I know in the offseason we were kind of like, well, they can't use them they haven't been very good anyways, but you look at how they hit on Javon Holland, Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Phillips, and that's kind of got people rethinking about whether they should just be floating picks around, you know what I mean? Now, drafting and correcting the offensive line still seems to be the Achilles heel of the current staff, but you know, we'll see how it rolls out, man. But you know what, man? Like, it's okay. I want people to realize this. If you love Tua, it's okay to admit if he has a bad game. If you hate Tua, it's okay to admit if he has a good game. It's okay. It's okay, guys. Now, if you're flip-flopping like, oh, screw this guy, I'm out, I want Watson, then he has a good game, you're like, oh, yo, screw Watson, I want Tua, blah, 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 blah. And then Tua has another bad game and you're back on the Watson train, and then Tua has another good game and you're back on the Tua train. If you're a flip-flopper, bro, this ain't meant for you. You're the worst of the worst. You, the overly reactionary haters and the overly reactionary lovers, you know, the flip-floppers are up there too, man. I can't put up with it. I swear to God. Like, hey, Bari, no knowledge, know the ledge, baby. That's all you got to do. Know the ledge. Rakim told us all, man. And like I said, man, he had one bad game and we put 31 points. And guess what? All of those points were because of the offense. The defense wasn't the turnover machine against Zach Wilson we all thought it was going to be. You know? Here's the other thing too. You know, you've heard me say it on the breakdowns. If you watch the breakdowns, you've heard me say this. Tua, he's gone from last year where you saw like 1, 2, maybe 3 like wow throws a game where you're like, whoa, that's impressive. Yesterday in a bad game, he still had like 4 wow throws where you're like, oh boy. Like that corner strike to DVP was a wow throw. That third down throw to Gesicki was a wow throw. That dart to Isaiah Ford was an absolutely wow throw. Like, he's still putting the wow throws, even when the guy has, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with y'all, but even when he has a bad day, you're still getting wow throws where you're like, whoa, that's impressive. You know what I mean? You're still getting that even during a bad day. You're not getting a totally flat day, but I will say this. Go to the Giants game. I don't know what's going on, but something is wrong. Something is wrong with Tua right now. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the finger acting up on him. I don't know. But his accuracy has been off. Go look at this slant throw to DVP on that touchdown. And that's what worries me. What's going on right now. That's his bread and butter throw. He will make that 11 times out of 10. We can all safely say he's made that throw hundreds and hundreds of times. Go back to the Giants game. His accuracy has been off. Even on the throws that his bread and butter throws, there's accuracy too. There's accuracy issues going on. And I don't know whether it's his finger, but he didn't. Let's just put it this way. I wasn't seeing these issues during the Ravens game. I wasn't seeing these issues in any other games in the 6-game winning streak except the Giants game and now the Jets game. Those are the only 2 teams I've known. And again, when you watch tape, you're taught Look for trends, look for patterns. And there's a pattern there. There's a trend there right now over the last 2 games. So I don't know what it is. I do not know. He did not have these issues on the first 4 games of the 6-game winning streak. It did not see them. I don't know what it is. So, and then he'll go drop that diamond on that corner strike to DVP, but the slant is off, and you're like, that's not like, that's a bread and butter, especially to DVP, man. Him and DVP have feasted off that throw. So, I don't know what it is, but it's there and it's on film. So I don't know. I'm gonna talk to I'm gonna reach out to Nick Hicks. 12 man, that's what I'm saying. His accuracy is fluctuating right now. His accuracy is fluctuating. He's placing a ball like that DVP throw, but then on his bread and butter throws, the easiest throws of the game, his accuracy is off. So I don't know what it is. Derek, I don't even know what you're talking about. You're making nonsense. Okay, we are literally, go look at passing charts of every NFL cornerback. Go look at how many passes come within 10 yards. This is literally a dink and dunk era. Tom Brady dinks and dunks, then goes over the top of you. Mac Jones, literally all he's done this year is dink and dunk. Stop. You don't know what you're talking about, man. And that DVP throw yesterday on that corner strike, you know how hard of a throw that is? Not many guys can make that throw. That's all touch and ball placement. That is a ridiculous throw in that window. Shout out to Fred, $4.99 donation. He says Tua needs route runner at the game. You can see no separation. That's why he likes Waddle. Yeah, man. I mean, we knew this, right? We had the bottom 3. We were in the bottom 3 last year in terms of separation with our receiving core. So, and then when you take Waddle out, he's one of our best separators. Woo back, I already got that Tua thing lined up, baby. When I go down to Florida, I already got that set up, man. So, Wilson separating. I mean, you go back. You go back to the Raiders game. We pointed out whether it's been Brissett or Tua, there's about 4 or 5. There's about 4 or 5 reads where Wilson was missed on deep shots that he was gone. Like that's a Brissett and Tua issue. They're just not seeing Wilson. So Isaac, I have not passed judgment on that Wilson pass. I said it live. I'll say it again. When I see the all 22, you will get my breakdown on that throw. I'm not like these people. I don't buy in and start making claims without seeing the all 22, bro. Martin, don't be jacking my Hunter Renfrow love, bro. I was just on the phone with Martin before I went live, and I said, I'm officially starting the Hunter Renfrow in 2023 free agency to the Miami Dolphins. I want Hunter Renfrow. I don't care if Tua's a quarterback, Watson's a quarterback. I don't care who your quarterback is. I want Hunter Renfrow. This man is Cooper Kupp light, bro. Give me Hunter Renfrow all day, baby. Give me Hunter Renfrow. That's that guy. So, yeah, we'll break down that Albert Wilson throw tomorrow. I mean, we'll let y'all know. Because I'm really curious to see his mechanics. I'm really, really curious to see his mechanics. Oh, Cap, don't worry. I'll go over on Friday what we need to do to beat the Saints, man. I'm confident. People are hitting me up after yesterday, like, how do you feel about the Saints? Are you worried about the Saints? I'm like, bro, I know what they are. I know Marshawn Lattimore. I know they're like, man. I know CGJ, their safety. I know they got a good safety duo. I know they got good D linemen. I know what we're up against. I just think our defense can feast against their offense, and I think Tua can get the job done against the Saints. I'm not worried. It's actually the last two games of the schedule where I'm starting to get worried. Now, could we still lose against the Saints? 110%. Any given Monday in that scenario, but I'm more worried about the last two games of the season than I am against the Saints. But we'll go over that on Friday when I do my preview show. 499 from Fred. He says Wilson throw. He moved to the outside and arm in his face, so he threw it up. Yeah, I gotta see it. I actually rarity. I didn't go back and watch the game for a second time yesterday, and I haven't had time today to watch it. So tonight, when the all 22 drops, is actually going to be my second time watching it. So I usually watch it 2 or 3 times before the all 22 drops, and I just haven't had time yesterday once the stream started and then ended, and then today. So I'll look into it. So yeah, let's get into man. I got 27 minutes on my state of the so my weekly state of the Dolphin dress is summed up in this. Listen, if you love Tua, it's okay to admit he had a bad game yesterday. But also, if you hate Tua, it's okay and it's actually right to do to admit when he has a really good game, because a lot of y'all were real silent for those 5 games, but got real loud when the one game he doesn't play well out of the 6-game winning streak, you guys want to crucify him. So let's just be objective here is all I'm saying, okay? Let's be fair. All right? That's all on both sides of the thing. Cuz it's a lot. It's a lot, man. I'm getting you're not defending Tua enough, and then I'm getting you're making excuses for Tua. It's like I'm sitting here like, dude, I'm just putting my opinions out there, man. Like shit. So, yeah, man, just if he plays good, acknowledge it. If he doesn't play well and doesn't play good, acknowledge it. That's it. That's all there is to it. No one's going to judge you. All right? Jesus. So, because let's be honest, on the 6-game winning streak, he's been a big contributor. Let's call what it is. Even yesterday, in a game where he threw 2 picks and looked off, he contributed. He contributed 2 passing touchdowns. He made a mistake, and then he's contributed a game-winning drive to make up for that mistake. So he's still contributing even when he's not playing well. So let's just be honest with ourselves, and let's call it spade a spade. You know what I mean? So, but by no means does that mean he had a good game yesterday just because he contributed. So, all right, let's get into. We'll start off as usual, like we do every week. Start off with the snap counts. We'll get into PFF. Then we're going to flip over into some next gen stats. And then I got an article I want to read to you guys. But before we do all that, smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. If you'd like to donate, paypal.me/Finside. Guys, if you'd like to become a Finside the NFL Patreon, just like YouTube channel members, I'm going to be dropping a special Patreon and channel member only video to start the new year. In the first week of the new year, I'll be dropping that for you guys. And then my film studies, when I drop my film studies, you get first access to that. If you are a Patreon, you also get access to insider info. And I've been dropping some nuggets over the past 4 days. So there's some new information up there if you're a Patreon. On top of all that, if you are a YouTube channel member, which you can become by either following the link in the description below or hitting the join button next to subscribe, you will get custom emojis. You will also get custom little badge next to your name, and like the Patrons, you will get early access to insider info. There's multiple levels to the membership and to the Patreon. So check them out. As usual, shout out to my Patreons and my channel members for the new year. I'm going to have my new shout out system will be implemented. I'm doing a layover that's going to have all your guys' names that we're going to end the show with. And so there you go. We're going to do that. And then patchvibes.com. Use code FINSIDE to save 20% off your order. Guys, you can get a nice little tumbler like this. They got some great shirts. I got some shirts over there. Of course, they are known for patches like the Shula patches that we rocked last year. They have those. Go check them out. Patchvibes.com. Save 20% off your order. Backroomcollection.net. Use code REASON. And you will save 10%. You can get something great like this Tua canvas here that they sent me. Go check out backroomcollection.net. They got autographed canvases. They have a Javon Holland signing coming up. And they got some great canvas designs that they're going to be getting autographed by him. You can pre-order now. Go check thrivefantasy.com. Use code FINSIDE. Have every dollar up to your first 100 deposited matched by thrivefantasy.com, your number one website in fantasy prop betting. All right, now let's get into and recap this game. But let's start off with some news because some news did transpire today. Let's talk about it. Let's start off with some roster moves by the Miami Dolphins because they are some interesting ones and they are some key ones. And they are this. The Dolphins have signed Duke Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine to the active roster. They also activated Philip Lindsay and Jalen Waddle. They placed Justin Coleman on the reserve COVID list, who played yesterday, and they waived Will Parks. Also, guys, an explanation came out. The reason why Holland didn't play yesterday, yes, they activated him off the COVID list, but they thought he would be able to go. And Javon Holland was not able to go, so that's why he didn't go. But Jalen Waddle and Philip Lindsay are off the reserve COVID list. They will return. Duke Johnson has been signed to the active roster. So they waived Will Parks and Coleman moved to the reserve list. But when everyone's healthy, there's going to have to be a running back that's taken out of this equation because it is a cramped room right now with Lindsay returning. You got Duke Johnson, Philip Lindsay, Myles Gaskin, Salvin Ahmed, Malcolm Brown's on IR, and then Patrick Laird on the practice squad too, right? So it is a cramped room, but guys, Duke Johnson, he earned that. He played so well yesterday. You know, the first 100+ yard game of the season for Duke Johnson. You know, a crazy thing too is 81 of Duke Johnson's yards actually came after contact yesterday. That's huge. And he actually averaged 3.68 yards after contact per attempt. Just for context, Gaskin is averaging 2.16 yards after contact per attempt and has 355 yards after contact on 164 rushing attempts. So Duke Johnson did some great things. He earned it. Now Flores indicated today that they're still going to go kind of with a committee backfield. So we'll see how that works out. They don't know if it doesn't look like they're going to give him the backfield right away. So it'll be a good 1-2 punch between him and Philip Lindsay, and then when Gaskin complimenting or whatever. So, and then Jalen Waddle, obviously, you know, to his top target. So Jalen will be back, one of the only separators on our team. So Jalen Waddle will be back, thank God. Justin Coleman had that dropped interception yesterday. Will Parks, not really a needle mover. It was funny. Remember, I was joking about Sheldrick Redwine being our starting safety if Holland was out, and now they've signed him to the active roster. So good for Redwine moving up from, you know, an extra body in training camp to making the practice squad to now officially on the active roster. Good for him, man. And then to no one's surprise whatsoever, it was said today by Brian Flores that Will Fuller had some setbacks in rehab from finger injury, and he likely won't play this season. So I mean, like I said, if you follow this channel, you know I was told when he took personal leave, I was told that he was contemplating retirement. Then he came back after I said I don't think he'd play another down for us. People tried to ratio me. He caught 4 passes and he's been out ever since. And I'm going to take a massive victory lap on every platform if this guy retires. This is an absolute joke. He never wanted to be a Dolphin. He wanted the money. I told you, someone else told me, apparently he, came down to Green Bay and us, and his agent told him, if you want the money, go to Miami. If you want a championship, go to Green Bay. And he took Miami. And he's done this to us. Like, what a joke. How do you, like, you've had setbacks in rehab. Omar Kelly has come out flat out and said he has not seen you in months at the facility. What setbacks did you really have? Nick Hicks hasn't told me about any setbacks at Perform. Will Fuller just does not want to be a Dolphin. I don't know whether it was he was brought here on the premise of we're going to get Deshaun Watson, and because they didn't do that, he just doesn't want to play here. And if that's the case, you look like even more of a bitch. If you're taking your ball and going home all because they didn't get your buddy, well, first of all, what kind of professional are you? Let alone what kind of soft, Charmin ass motherfucker are you? That's unbelievable. If that's the case, Will Fuller should be ashamed of yourself. You should. I wouldn't even sign you for the veteran minimum if I was another team. If you were that big of a baby. All right. This man, Russell Wilson, shredded his finger up, went and got surgery, is throwing the football, and came back. But you're having rehab. What did you break? You get a hangnail? Huh? What'd you get? You get a paper cut? We're over there from counting all the money the Dolphins are giving you? What happened, Will Fuller? You tell me. Because you're already nominated for this Friday's Jabroni of the Week, along with some clown on Twitter. All right? Some jabroni journalist who wouldn't be anywhere if your boy didn't put him on. You and him are vying for Jabroni of the Week. And I might just make Will Fuller Jabroni of the Week because who wants to give that bald, ugly fuck on Twitter any more of a platform to prop him up? So it might be Fuller at the end of the day. But Will Fuller, you might be Jabroni of the Year, let alone week. And pardon my language. But pardon my French, as my grandfather used to say. But Will Fuller, you are a joke. A disgrace. You know how many people would kill for the opportunity to play in the NFL? Do you know how many people had that opportunity taken away with actual career-threatening and career-ending injuries? And you're out here playing patty cake with your finger. Softer than a roll of wet Charmin, bro. Get out of here. You're a joke and you're a disgrace. And I wish they could sue you. As fans, we should sue you, to be completely honest with you, for getting our hopes up that you're actually going to add some substance. So, it's just ridiculous that this guy is absolutely just taking money from us. Unreal. What a joke. Like, this man is a complete, utter joke. Softer than baby shit. Again, pardon my French. But that's what this guy is, bro. And take it from a guy who changes a 10 months old diaper. He's softer than that. God damn. All right. Let's get into the offensive and the defensive snaps for the Miami Dolphins here. All right. Starting off with the offensive snaps, some things we see here. You know, Obviously, Tagovailoa not 100% because Brissett got some snaps. Shout out to Christian Wilkins for only getting 2 snaps and getting a touchdown on one of them. Will Fuller, you're so big of a joke, Will Fuller. Christian Wilkins has more receiving touchdowns this year than you do. That's how big of a joke you are. Christian Wilkins is having a better receiving year. Hell, Robert Hunt should have had more touchdowns than you. He's given us more effort as a receiver than you've given all year. What a joke. Anyways, Gesicki, look at Smythe. They use Smythe for 92% of the snaps, 29% more than Mike Gesicki. That is, sorry, my bad. I apologize. Straight up 20 more. 20 snaps more. They use him for 65 snaps compared to Gesicki's 45. He saw a 33%, sorry, a 29% increase from Gesicki. Like, Durham Smythe, however you want to cut it, Durham Smythe was your tight end 1. And when your run game is rolling, clearly it looks like if the run game is rolling, Smythe is going to be a big part of their plans. That's the other thing it shows you. When the run game is going, Smythe is going to be getting a lot of time. When you look at Albert Wilson, Devontae Parker was elevated, 89% of the snaps. He was your wide receiver 1. Wilson took on the role of wide receiver 2. Thank God he made that crazy catch that went up in the air. The guy still needs to learn how to run north-south. I don't know what's with all this east-west crap that Wilson decides he's going to run. You look at Robert Jones. Robert Jones, the guard, made it in for 10 snaps yesterday too. He saw 14% of the snaps. Obviously, that's a season high for him. Isaiah Ford out-snapping Mac Hollins. Duke Johnson, even though he was clearly the hot hand, he only got 15 more snaps than Myles Gaskin. So, interesting stuff and look at Preston Williams, people. He is being phased the hell out. Goodbye, Preston Williams. My Lord. And I agree with you, Rob D. Swinging Crypto. That's why I was losing it yesterday. Why are we giving it on 3rd down to Myles Gaskin when you got Duke who's got the hot hand? He's the bigger back. You go figure it out. These guys they're still coaching brain farts even when we're winning and we have a successful running game. That's what makes me question Stoodsville. What is this guy? How are you the offensive coordinator and you're letting that happen? Because you're also the running coordinator. So 3rd down, I mean, I don't know what they're saying. Like, just let Duke roll let Duke roll. You should have let Duke roll as your 3rd down back in the situation, and early down relief from Gaskins when you need to change of pace. Not on 3rd down on key downs. So it'll be interesting to see how. I'd say this weekend just feed Duke and Phillip Lindsay. Maybe sprinkle in Gaskin for some pass catching opportunities. Anyways, continuing on, let's get into the defensive snaps here. All right. When you take a look at the defensive snaps, some things that automatically stand out to you. Look at Nick Needham. Look at Nick Needham, boys and girls. Needham was on the field with Holland out for 100% of the snaps. Because they were using him in the safety too. You see Zach Seiler. We were noticing how Zach Seiler, how good he was in the plays he was making. Zach Seiler was only on the field for 49% of the snaps. Like, the guy is begging for more. And Duke Riley. You see Duke Riley's snaps plummeted. And there's still, Phillips now seeing 72% of the snaps, so even he's getting a good workload. They're not playing with his snaps like they really were earlier on. So good stuff from when you take a look at the snap counts. Really impressive day by Needham. Really good stuff. Nick Needham is that's impressive, man, and it's crazy. Shout out to EM. EM's been calling for him to get looks at safety for like 2 or 3 years now. So shout out. Needham was pretty good yesterday. Got to give him his props, man. Exactly, Scott. Seiler, 49% of the snaps, 100% impact. I like that. Jesse Davis. All right, let's get into the PFF grades for the Miami Dolphins from yesterday's game. They look as this when we look at the offensive grades. Isaiah Ford, I usually look at you got to have 25 snaps or more. Isaiah Ford, though, was, he only had 19 snaps, but he was your highest graded guy. If you go by 25 snaps or more, well, it's Duke Johnson. Eichenberg was then right there. Eichenberg had a really good day. I can't wait to watch the film because Neil Driscoll was hitting me up that Eichenberg and Jackson had good days. So interested to see that. Gesicki, 73.8, Devontae Parker 72.1, Robert Hunt is 71.5. Shout out to Robert Hunt to showing up to Hard Rock Stadium in a Goku shirt too. That was awesome. Austin Jackson, you see it right there already. The 86.9 pass blocking grade that Austin Jackson had yesterday, that was his best grade of his career. So, nice to see him in the 70s. And then when you go down, here, your bottom 5 was Jesse Davis was the worst with a 39.2. Tagovailoa was number 2, the second worst grade with a 44.3. Hunter Long was the third worst with a 44.9. Miles Gaskin was fourth worst with a 57.5. And then, a bunch of guys in small numbers. And then you got to go to Mac Hollins, really for a guy with more than 10. But Durham Smythe, with all of his snaps, all 66 snaps, they only give him a 62.9. But look at that. They gave Durham Smythe an 80.2 blocking grade. So that's pretty key. All right, when we go into how the pass blocking was, the Dolphins tied their season low. They allowed 7 pressures, the same amount they allowed against the Carolina Panthers. You see Jesse Davis and Michael Dieter led the way with 2 pressures each. Jesse Davis had 2 hurries. Dieter had 2 hits. Hunter Long, Liam Eichenberg, and Robert Hunt all allowed 1 pressure each. Another game where Austin Jackson does not allow any pressures. Look at this guy. So when you see Duke Johnson, he had 2 pass blocking. He did not allow a pressure when he was back there. So he's in 2 pass sets, but he wasn't pass blocking. So those are your pass blocking grades. Very impressive. Starting to see a good trend. They've only given up 22 pressures over the last 3 games, which compared to games where they're giving up 24, 26 pressures a game, that's much better. Now, this is how it works right now with still games to be played, mind you, in terms of, because we've done this every week, in terms of pressures allowed. Jesse Davis is now number 2. Eichenberg is number 3. Alex Leatherwood has taken the top spot. Austin Jackson, he is tied for 7th. So good for him. We still got 3 of the top 10, but Jackson's managing to fall out as the season progresses. Good for him. All right, back to the games here. And back to our game specifically. Now let's get into because we've been doing this lately too. Let's get into passing direction and pressure here. When we look at Tua, there's his passing chart. So he was 2 for 3 from beyond 20 yards, but he was only 3 for 9 on the intermediate level. So off day for sure with Tua. When he was kept clean, a completion percentage that's usually in the 80s was down to 66.7% for 155 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. His average depth of target was 7.7. When he was under pressure, his average depth of target was 15.4. He was 4 for 9 under pressure for 1 touchdown, 1 interception, for 41 yards and a 44.4 completion percentage. Now, when you adjust him, it doesn't get much better under pressure. He was adjusted to a 50%, just like when he was kept clean. When he was adjusted, he was adjusted to a 66.7%. Now, when he's not blitzed, he was 10 of 17 yesterday for 2 interceptions. But when he was blitzed, that's when he threw his two touchdowns, and he was 6 for 10. So, and the drops weren't really an issue for him yesterday, obviously, too, right? When you look at the concept and passing depth, so from play action yesterday, even with the running game, he was 9 of 15, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 100 yards with no play action. He was 7 of 12 for a 58.3 completion percentage, 96 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. His average depth of target was 9.6 on play action, and it was 10.5 yards on no play action. So, and then you see here, when you look at deep, he was 2 for 3. 11% of his attempts came deep. He was 66.7%. And it's for 64 yards. On the intermediate level is where he threw his pick. He was 3 for 9 for 33.3% completion percentage on 36 yards with an interception. From short, he was 8 for 11, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And behind the line of scrimmage, he was. So, I mean, he put up 2 less yards from beyond 20 yards than he did from 0 to 9 yards. Yet people want to call him a dink and dunker. Okay. All right, buds. So when you look at how Tua, when you drive into the analytics for passing yesterday, it matches what you saw live. It wasn't overly impressive. Now, defensively, when we get into the grades here, Zach Seiler had an 89.5, as did Byron Jones. They were your 2 top graded defenders yesterday. Alandon Roberts was number 3 with a 77.9. Christian Wilkins was number 4 with a 72.7, and Ogba with a 72.5 was number 5. When you go down here, Andrew Vinkel somehow graded out as our worst defender, even though he's almost getting there a bunch of times, with a 37.8. Brandon Jones had a 41.9. Jalen Phillips had a 46.2. Adam Butler had a 48, and Justin Coleman had a 52. They were your 5 worst defenders. And then Raekwon Davis and everyone else was still in the middle. Personally, I think, and they have Nick Needham listed as a strong safety here. Actually, let's see that for a sec. Hold on a sec. So when we go into let's look at where they had him lined up yesterday. Okay, so he had 44 snaps yesterday at free safety. 44 of Needham's 60 snaps yesterday came at free safety. That's very impressive for how good he played. His grade should be higher. I thought he was very good yesterday. But anyways, here we go. And I know the tape's going to back that up, but whatever. It's PFF. And they don't use all 22. When you look at the coverage, one thing I wanted to highlight here was Byron Jones. Byron Jones was targeted 4 times. He allowed 1 reception for 9 yards. And he had 2 pass breakups. We're going to dive into him a little bit after this. I'm going to go back into defensive grades and dive into him. Eric Rowe, he was targeted 3 times. He allowed 2 receptions for 21 yards. He allowed 10 yards after the catch, a first down. And remember, the one completion Byron Jones stopped for 9 yards was before they could get the first down. Jerome Baker, he was targeted 3 times. He allowed 2 receptions for 16 yards and 2 first downs. Brandon Jones, he was targeted twice. He allowed 2 receptions for 24 yards and 2 first downs. Duke Riley, he was targeted twice. He allowed 1 reception for 9 yards. Andrew Van Ginkel allowed 2 receptions on 2 targets for 43 yards and 2 first downs. Justin Coleman, he allowed 1 target on 1 reception for 6 yards. Jalen Phillips allowed 1 target on 1 reception for 4 yards. Atlanta Robert allowed 1 reception on 1 target for 16 yards in a first. Xavier Howard allowed 0s, but he's only targeted once. Now, when we dive in, because I know, I think Wingfield today included Xavier Howard, but to me, you were kind of lumping him in. And we know Howard's been phenomenal on this winning streak. But Byron Jones, look at his grade, right? Look at his coverage grade, 90.2. And this is why. He had 2 pass breakups. He had 1 reception on 4 targets for 9 yards. He also not included in his right, but he had a run stop. He allowed a 39.6 passer rating. Now, Xavier Howard allowed that too, but he was only targeted 1 time, right? So Byron had a little bit more volume coming his way, some more chances taken his way. And he's still, 2 pass breakups, only allowed 1 reception for 9 yards, no first downs, no touchdowns. And you add on top of that a run stop, a very quiet and solid day for Byron Jones. And I actually did mention that while we were live yesterday. He was pretty good yesterday. Byron had a pretty strong game. So shout out to Byron Jones. But yeah, those are the grades for the Miami Dolphins in Week 15 against the New York Jets. All right. Let's get into we do it every time. Let's go ahead. We're going to get into the next gen stats. We're going to start off with passing charts. Like we do, I think we do that every week, right? And then we get into the actual stats. So I guess we'll start off. We start off with Tua, or do we start off with Zach Wilson? Let me get. I'm just pulling up Zach Wilson. We'll start off. I guess we'll start off with Zach Wilson here. I can find it. Oh, they really buried him down here. Did I skip it over? I must have skipped it over. He's so irrelevant. I just looked past him. Okay, come on, Reason. Just look for the young Disney Plus character. I usually don't have this problem. Oh, there it is. There's the young Disney character. All right. Let's start off with Zach Wilson. So Zach Wilson, when you look at his passing chart, I mean, see what I'm telling you? Everyone dinks and dunks. This guy had what? By the look at the charts, I don't know if they're counting those 2 green ones right on before the line, but he had actually 3 throws. The white's incompletion. The 3 incompletions were like his only passes beyond 10 yards. There was 13 to 23 for 170 yards. So you look at Zach Wilson. You know what this tells me too? They were prepared. They were totally prepared for us to throw cover 0 at them. And I think that's why we've kind of reared back on it, because we noticed teams are fully prepping to see it. And if you look at this passing chart could do damage against cover 0 if you get it out. You know what I mean? This would be bad for a cover 0 look. Let's just put it that way. So when you look at Zach Wilson, look at this. Someone said in the comments, I agree with them 110%. Tua played his worst game of his career, and he still outplayed this guy. Okay, give me a break. So Zach Wilson, unimpressive. Tua Tagovailoa in his passing chart. At least I see touchdowns here when I look. Look at completions down there, right? Look at that. Completions of 25 and 30. Look at that. I didn't see that. Does this chart not look a little bit more spread out? Y'all want to say he was dinking and dunking yesterday? Stop it. 11 of his 27 throws came in front of the 10-yard line or behind the line of scrimmage. That means 16 of his 27 were beyond 10 yards. So he's now actually giving you that big. Yeah, that is a big miss to Wilson on the sideline. So I gotta, again, I have not passed judgment on that play until I see the all 22. When I see the all 22, I will pass my judgment on the Wilson throw. So, yeah, Tua was not great yesterday by any stretch. Like I said, I gave him a C-. You know what I mean? The only reason he didn't get a D+ was because he had that response drive for a touchdown. And every other game on this winning streak, at worst I gave Tua a B+. He's been an A for the majority of this winning streak. So you just got to call it what it was. You know what I mean? Those 2 interceptions were brutal. And, he had a couple misses that I know he would want back. You know what I mean? So, we saw a bad day for Tua, yet the offense still put up 31 points, and he was a big contributor to those 31 points. And he still led a game-winning drive. Like, come on. The guy's showing everything you want in a young quarterback. I don't know what there is to say anymore. I really don't know what there is to say anymore. Even when he has a bad game, he's still showing you traits of a young quarterback who's going to turn into a franchise guy. You know what I mean? Like, he shakes everything off. He responds. He doesn't crumble. He starts making bigger throws under pressure in terms of when he needs to make them. So that's what people don't realize. We'll get into an article here, and it'll really define Tua really well. I've been saying it since Alabama. Tua's a rhythmic passer. He needs to start getting into his rhythm. And once he gets into his rhythm, look the hell out. Tua going to start making throws that are going to have your head spinning when he gets into his rhythm. The problem was you coming off a 5-game winning streak. He went into the bye. He had some accuracy issues in that Giants game. Like, I don't know what's going on. But then you add on top of him, you took him out of his rhythm, and you had to ask him to find his rhythm again. So Tua's going to be fine. I expect a total bounce-back game against the Saints. I do not expect a dud in any which way. So, people just overreacting. It was his worst day as a professional, and yet, like, still a good completion percentage, still a game-winning drive. You know what I mean? Still about 4 blow-you-away throws in that game. So, I don't know. He's still doing it. Even when he's bad, he's still making throws that make you turn your head. Even when he's bad, even when he's having a bad day, he still has a game-winning drive. If I'm going to get a game-winning drive on your bad day, I'm fine with you having a bad day, bro. All right? Go ahead. Go have your bad day. Because I'll tell you right now. A bad day for Brissett, we're not winning. There's a lot of quarterbacks where if they have a bad day, you're not winning. So, because people can't use the defense yesterday, the defense let up 28 points against Zach Wilson-led offense. Jets game was a warm up, no more slip ups. Man, I'm totally expecting him to ball out. I think he's going to be good on this last stretch of 3. We see, haven't y'all realized? Tua plays up to competition. When we go against good teams, other than the Bills, who just have Flores and us as a franchise figured out, every other good team Tua can step up to the plate against. No moment is too big for Tua Tagovailoa. That is one thing he has shown you as a young quarterback, and that is a big, big thing. Big thing. So, but all that said, let's hop into and another thing too, right? If you look at yesterday, you look at week 15. Now, the last 2 weeks, we've been keeping an eye. Sorry, the last 2 games, we've been keeping an eye on the time to throw, right? And if you look at it, against Carolina, it was 2.2 seconds time to throw, and if you look at against the Giants, it was 2.3 seconds in time to throw. Now in week 15, because of the protection, it was a little bit better, but his time to throw in week 15 was about 2.55 seconds. So he got about 2.5 seconds time to throw. Still not quite where we wanted to be, but it was there. I mean, just for example, Mac Jones this week had 3.15 seconds. Joe Burrow had 3.14 seconds. Justin Herbert this week had 3.11 seconds. They were actually the 3 top guys. Zach Wilson actually had about, even though he was sacked 6 times, he still had about 3.08 seconds to throw the football this week. Trevor Lawrence had 3.03 seconds to throw the football. Matt Ryan, who's a complete statue, had 3 seconds to throw the football. Kirk Cousins, another statue, 2.97 seconds to throw the football. So it's not quite where we want it to be, but it's a lot better than 2.3 and 2.22 seconds. That's for sure. Now, let's get into the next gen stats, specifically from the Giants and the Dolphins game from the Jets and the Dolphins game. I apologize. New York, bro. I apologize. Got that New York state of mind like my name was Nas, bro. All right. So let's bring this up for y'all. Here are your next gen stats, in-game next gen stats. So longest completed air distance yesterday was 40.5 yards by Tua Tagovailoa. Zach Wilson had a 31.4 yard air completed distance. The fastest ball carrier for the Jets was Brendan Eccles on his pick 6, but the fastest ball carrier in the game was Albert Wilson at 8.72 seconds. The fastest sack for the Jets was Sheldon Rankins in 5.6 seconds. For us, it was AVG on that one where he came from the blind side in 2.9 seconds. You look at passing. This is your pass. These are the next gen passing. This is your passing zones right here. So you see they got 2 for 3, just like they pretty much line up with what you saw for PFF right there. So I mean, you see it right there. It's right in front of you. Tua, they counted 10 of his passes were beyond the 10-yard line yesterday. So, whereas Zach Wilson only threw 2 passes beyond 10 yards yesterday. When you look at the rushing direction, this is where Duke Johnson. So Tevin Coleman, when we go look over here, Tevin Coleman was having success in that, whether he hit that A gap or that B gap to that right side here, and then bouncing it outside the tackle, left tackle worked for him. Duke Johnson, though, he it was spread out. Whether he was going, outside the tackles or inside the gaps, look at, both of his touchdowns became inside to the right in the gap. So you look at Duke Johnson, the good stuff. Myles Gaskin found success running to that right side as well. And then Michael Carter, we shut him down yesterday. Loved it. But yeah, Duke Johnson, when you look at how the ball was spread out with how he's running it, found a lot of success bouncing out to the left side and then working the interior. When you look at, I know this is very interesting for everyone. Let's check this out. Separation yesterday. So the league average is 2.9 yards separation per route. Okay, let's start with the Jets. Crowder had 3.1 yards. Mims had 4.08 yards. Griffin had 10.02 yards, which is obviously inflated by how wide open he was in that one throw. Tyler Kroft had 4.07 yards, and Cole had 1.22 yards. We had one of our main targets average more than 2 yards of separation. Mac Hollins, 0.77 yards. Devontae Parker, 1.6 yards. Isaiah Ford, 1.78 yards. Mike Gesicki, 2.86 yards. Albert Wilson, 1.01 yards. This tells you Wilson, Hollins, and Parker, and Ford, too, found themselves in a lot of tight window situations. So we were back without Jalen Waddle. We were back to an offense that cannot separate. So you got to separate, boys. And yet the league average is 2.9. No one on our team met the league average. Zach Wilson, he had 4 of his top 5 targets were beyond the league average. We didn't have any target higher than the league average. Think about that. And then you look at the pass rush. Again, another week. Jalen Phillips is moving back up, though, but another week with Jalen Phillips is not the number one guy. When you look at average separation from the quarterback, the league average is about 4.5 yards. Blair averaged 4.11. Franklin Myers, 4.5. Rankins, 5.4. And Phillips, for them, 5.46. For us, Ogba, 4.06. Phillips, right around the league average at 4.58. Butler, 4.65. And Wilkins at 6.36. So, they were getting there, just not, you want to see that when you see that below 4 yards, it's a really good day for your pass rush. So those are the next gen stats for the Miami Dolphins. And then finally, this article I wanted to show you guys. I thought it was one of the better articles that have been written about it was one of the better articles I think written about this whole winning streak. So let's get into it. And it was done by a journalist and a former NCAA and NFL coach. So I really like this article. I wanted to share it with you guys when I read it. So this is the 8 keys to the Dolphins' shocking turnaround. On Halloween night, the Miami Dolphins sat at just 1-7 after losing their previous 7 games. There were talks about whether Tua Tagovailoa should be their franchise quarterback, and rumors about Deshaun Watson being traded to Miami were swirling. To think they would end up being one of the hottest teams in football and in the hunt for the playoffs just 7 weeks later appeared nearly impossible, yet that is where they sit, currently coming off a 6-game winning streak. After beating New England in Week 1 by just 1 point, the Dolphins skidded until Week 8, losing all 7 of these matchups while being outscored 217 to 121 in that span. Following their Week 8 beatdown in Buffalo, many criticized Miami for their struggles. Hall of Fame Dolphin Larry Zonk even took to Twitter to say it seems obvious to get back to basics and revisit the drawing board. Coach Rip Schreier, who has coached the NFL and the NCAA for more than 40 years, recruited Tagovailoa during his time at UCLA. Schreier sees parallels between the Dolphins' up and down streaks and the streaky play from Tagovailoa. Coach Schreier thinks of him as a hot hand QB. When he gets on a roll, he feeds off his own success. This hot hand came into effect as Miami began to salvage the season against the Texans, with both teams entering the game 1-7. However, they started this run with Jacoby Brissett at the helm due to a Tagovailoa finger injury. After Miami outlasted Houston in an ugly 9-turnover game, Brissett had to exit a Thursday affair with the Ravens due to a knee injury. Tagovailoa was able to suit up as a backup despite the injury, stepping in to relieve Brissett in the second half and starting each game since. Here are the keys to Miami's success across this time. Key number 1. Although he hasn't played every snap throughout the 6-game winning streak, Tagovailoa's improved play has been a key component to his monumental shift. Throughout the first 8 weeks of the season, Miami had an adjusted completion percentage of 75.4, the 17th highest in the league. Across their winning streak, they have vaulted to 77.7, good for 5th best in the NFL. Even more impressive is Tagovailoa has an adjusted completion percentage of 81.3% during this time, the best in the league among players with 100 pass attempts. Key number 2, the Dolphins have increased their passer rating as well, they catapulted from the 27th in the league through week 8 up to 13th following their losing streak. Tagovailoa passer rating sits at 103.3 since week 9, the 5th highest in the NFL. This has been facilitated primarily by a better offensive balance and a more effective passing attack. Key number 3. During their first 8 games, the Dolphins ran the ball 61 times on second down, 19th in the league. Since their winning streak began, Miami has 64 of such rush attempts, the 6th most during the stretch. Despite only scoring 4 times on the ground through week 8, the Dolphins have 7 rushing touchdowns during their barrage of wins, ranking 7th in the NFL. One key reason for the success, key 4, on the ground has also been their key increased passing threat. During the first 2 months of the season, remember, mostly Brissett, Miami could only muster 6.1 passing yards per attempt, second worst in the NFL ahead of only Chicago. In the time since, they ranked 13th with 7.1 yards per attempt, a sizable jump. Again, the Tua Tagovailoa effect. But he dinks and dunks, right? Even though he's raising our team's passing attempt from second worst in the NFL to 13th. All right. Although the Dolphins' average depth of target only increased, key number 5, from 7.4 yards to 7.6 yards during those 2 segments of the season, their percentage of passing yards coming from yards after the catch increased from 43% to 45.4%. One reason for this is because of Jalen Waddle's excellent play. The rookie's yard per reception has leaped from 8.6 yards in the first 8 weeks with Brissett to 11.5 yards since then with Tua. From the first 8 weeks, key number 6, from the first 8 weeks versus the following 7 weeks, Tagovailoa has been more effective while throwing the football both short and deep. On passes that have gone 3 yards past the line of scrimmage or short, or 20 or more yards past the line of scrimmage, or the Southpaw has bumped his passing yards per attempt from 7 yards up to 8 yards, the latter good for 15th in the NFL. Key number 7, the improvement to both their passing and rushing games also could be somewhat attributed to their use of play-action passes. In the first 8 weeks, they utilized play-action on 29.1% of the plays. Since, 42.5% of their pass attempts have incorporated play-action, the highest clip in the NFL, obviously because of the RPO, right? Key number 8, the Miami defense has also taken a huge step forward in the previous 7 games, allowing less than 12 points per contest and more than 10 points just twice, both to the New York Jets. In the first 8 games, the Dolphins accumulated 11 sacks, the second fewest in the league. Since week 9, they lead the league in sacks with 24. This is likely due to the frequency in which they are blitzing. During the winning streak, they have blitzed 120 times and 45.8% of the time, both which lead the NFL throughout that span. In the same time frame, Miami has led the league in the number of total pressures and pressure percentage. Additionally, the Dolphins have the most batted passes in the NFL. Ogba leads the NFL with 14, 4 more than the team with the second most. Riding the back of Tagovailoa, Miami has thrusted itself into the heart of the AFC playoff race. Many thought on that Halloween night the Dolphins should take a deep look at their roster and front office staff, calling for new faces to spark a streak. However, their spark was found within. In the words of Coach Schreier, it was obvious from the get-go that you better never count Tagovailoa out. I never doubted that it was a matter of if he would work through the difficult span he was in, but it was just a matter of when. I knew Tagovailoa would find a way. A way Tagovailoa certainly did find, but will it be enough for the Miami Dolphins to find its way into the postseason? So I think that's a very good article. Highlights a lot of the things that have caused it to turn around. And you know what? Guys, the fact of the matter is this. A lot of the keys to this turnaround right now have been Tua's return and the emergence of the offense. I mean, they have gone hand in hand. And Tua has found a way to complement our our defense, and we're getting results. I really don't know what else to say. I mean, if all those numbers and analytics right there don't show you how much of an impact Tua is having right now, then it is what it is. You're letting your hate for the kid blind you. So I also want to show this. Tua Tagovailoa currently right now has the highest completion percentage in the NFL. 69.9%. Nice. Number 2 behind him is Kyler Murray, and then I think number 3 is Mac Jones. But right now, Tua has the highest completion percentage in the NFL. So, hey, I don't know what to tell y'all. Tua Tagovailoa doing his thing. Y'all just saw it was put in front of you how important and how big of a key to our success he has been. Right? Him and the defense have gone hand in hand. And thank God when he decides to have his worst game of his career and he has an off day, our running game finally finds their legs. So, I don't know, man. Like I said, he's giving you every reason to continue to try and invest in him. He's giving you guys every reason. He's giving the Dolphins, he's doing all he can. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. You know what I mean? We'll see how it works out. But I personally think, I personally think Tua has shown you enough to continue investing in him. And now he's going to have a chance to bounce back. And I mean, if he bounces back big time against the Saints and we beat the Saints, I mean, and we're 8-7, what then? You know what I mean? So, shout out to the homie Tua Tagovailoa. But the Saints are going to be a good test. That defense is legit. That defense is very legit. The next 3 defenses we are facing are legit. Like, for real. So, we're going to see how it works out, and we're going to see how it pans out. The real test comes on the next 3 weeks. At the end of the day, it was the Jets. We beat them. It was ugly. Move on with your life. Now, we got to go handle that business with some serious teams that have some good defenses. And that all starts with the New Orleans Saints. I'm pretty sure they're one of the better rush defenses in the NFL right now, too. They are no joke when it comes to their run defense. That's for sure. So, and hey, man, you know what I'm excited about? I want everyone to realize this. Prime time Tua, baby. We have a Monday night game. They have the 6th best rushing defense and the 17th best passing defense. But I believe we can beat them. We beat, at the time, the Carolina Panthers had the 6th best rushing defense when we played them, and they had the number 1 passing defense when we beat them. Tua, give me 250 to 300. Give me 250. Give me 2 touchdowns. Don't turn the ball over, and I guarantee you, we walk into New Orleans and we get a dub. And food for thought here: how fast is Waddle going to be when we see him inside of a dome now on that turf? He is going to be, man, because you remember some of these guys don't wear those cleats on that, right? Like they wear as close as you can come to running shoes. So he'll have good grip and he'll be able to fly inside that dome. It's going to be very interesting to see if we see an increased speed with Waddle too. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough task. This is going to be a tough task for our offensive line because they have a good interior and they got a great pass rusher with Cameron Jordan. This is going to be a test for our passing offense because of Marshawn Lattimore and that safety duo. And it's going to be a tough time for our rushing offense. We just got our legs under us, and now we're going up against the number 6 rushing defense in the NFL. So we're going to need another good performance from Duke Johnson, and we're going to need Lindsay to show up as well. So it's going to be interesting to really see how this upcoming week plays out. But man, 6 victory Mondays in a row. After starting 1-7, who thought we would be sitting here? And even though there's people overly nitpicking or trying to bring us down or do whatever, man, I'm just enjoying the ride. I told y'all all I wanted for Christmas and what I was looking for was I wanted to come out of primetime 8-7 with Tua as a major contributor. And it's setting up that I might get my wish. And it's only a couple days after Christmas. And it's going to be a nice late Christmas gift if I get an 8-7 record with Tua as a major contributor. I mean, who would have thought, man? 1-7, you can walk in with a chance to go above 500 because let's be honest. I mean, we're getting into the nitty gritty of things, guys. And what I mean by this is check this one out. All right. When you talk about the Bills and you talk about the Dolphins playoff right now, shout out to the homie Showtime. He tweeted out something today. And it was basically like this. The Dolphins would have a 98% chance if they finish 10-7 and the Buffalo Bills defeat the New England Patriots next Sunday at Gillette Stadium. A New England win in that game would drop the Dolphins' playoff chances to 52%, even if Miami ends up at 10-7. Because basically, if we finish 10-7, you need either I believe it's the Bills. The Bills, you need one of the Bills, Chargers, or Colts to finish worse than 10-7. And if you go look at the Chargers' final 3 games, it's easy breezy. You look at the last 3 games for the Bills after the Patriots, they have, I believe, the Falcons and the Jaguars. And then the Colts have a pretty easy schedule too. They have because I think the Chargers have the Colts, the Raiders, and someone else. It's easy. It's a joke. And the Colts have a pretty easy schedule too, remaining. So we need the Bills to beat New England next week. We need the Bills to win next week. That is big for us if we win out. So, I mean, shout out to Rome. I haven't seen you in a minute, bro. Hope you're good. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But guys, that's it for me. I'm going to be back tomorrow night. We are going to break down the all-22 of Tua Tagovailoa and every dropback he had in the game against the Jets. Me, Martin, and Ballgame will be here. We will break down every snap from Tua Tagovailoa. Hallelujah, it's not 43 or 45 throws, but we will break all that down. I'll be clipping up the film tonight. Guys, until then, I hope all of you stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Christmas is only a few days away. Guys, we got a good week coming up. I got the All 22 next week. Tomorrow. Then, I haven't decided yet, but between Thursday and Friday, we're going to have our preview show. But I also got a very special interview coming for you guys. Zach Schaumler from Strong Opinion Sports, over 160,000 YouTube subscribers, a very knowledgeable head on football. One of the guys who actually led to me saying, you know what? I will do film breakdowns on YouTube as well. He will be joining me and we will have an interview. It'll be a pre-recorded interview per his request, but I will have an interview coming up for you. So we're either going to do post-game on Christmas Eve and Zach Schaumler interview on Thursday, or I'm going to do post-game on Thursday, and we're going to give you the Zach Schaumler upload on Friday for Christmas Eve. I haven't decided yet, but I will let y'all know. Either way, man, I hope all of y'all are doing well. Shout out to everyone. Nice to see Ronnie, Rome Gray, Russell, Scotty Joe. A lot of the old dudes who have been around from a minute, while I've had this channel. Nice to see a lot of y'all sticking around, and the rest of you too, man. Appreciate you, Dolphin Musketeer, man. Appreciate you, dude. Any questions, hit me up, man. Martin, I love you, bro. I will see all of y'all on tomorrow night, and we'll be back around 9:30, maybe even earlier. So we'll let y'all know. Keep it up. I love all of y'all. Appreciate all of y'all. Smash that like button. Help your brother out with the algorithm. Subscribe if you're new. Let's go get it. Let's go get that 7th win, man. Appreciate all of y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. Man, I'm going to be giving y'all something on Christmas Eve. I don't stop working for y'all. Let's get it. Appreciate all of y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Much love. Fins up. Y'all already know what time it is, baby.